Why?
Hey, let's pop Robbie on. Robbie has thoughts if he's available
Producer Robbie.
about the Robbie has some comments about like why the Daily Wire failed. So Robbie, if you can pipe in and explain that.
Sure. So, as y'all's resident right winger who lives in this world, for those of you who don't know, like I am the MAGA guy, right? I'm not a Trump supporter. Trump left me. I did not leave him. Trump 2016, I was all about. Since then, the guy just sucks. Let me tell y'all right now, from the perspective of the right, where the Daily Wire is imploding. It's not the movies. Okay, maybe it has something to do with it, but that's not the split. That's not the issue. The issue is back during the Biden administration, when cancel culture first started being its thing. Ben Shapiro's famous thing was facts do not care about your feelings.
Yes.
And then he went all about, he did.
Yes,
and then what he did is that he went off on saying, we have to defend free speech on every hill. Okay. When October 7th happened and Israel began to commit a genocide, all of a sudden you had people like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson who had the guts to say, this is a genocide. That at that point revealed that everything Ben Shapiro was talking about was a complete and utter lie. He is not America first. I'll go as far as to say Ben Shapiro is not a conservative. He's a deep state warmongering scumbag from the perspective of the populist right, from which I am a member of. America first is just right. America first. Israel is not the 51st state. So how do you then put unconditional support for a foreign nation that receives billions of dollars in foreign aid? We finance the military. We provide them the bombs that they then use to murder innocent people in Gaza, in the West Bank, in Lebanon, in Syria, while we have homeless veterans living under every fucking bridge in this country. How is that America first? Okay. Ben Shapiro, his answer to that is shut up, anti-Semite, shut up, racist.
Yeah.
He fires Candace Owens. Candace Owens then challenges Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring to a debate. They tap dance around like, yeah, we'll do this. They then slap a gag order on her to weasel out of it. He then goes after Tucker Carlson saying, well, if you're saying I'm asking questions, then that means that you're an anti-Semite. Sorry, I have the right to ask questions as an American. Explain to me, as an America First conservative, how is it we are $37 trillion in debt? How does my tax dollars funding Israel help America in any way, shape, or form? Either you're America First or you are not. That is the problem with the Daily Wire. The mask is off. It was never America First. It is a Zionist operation. It is an agent of AIPAC. These people are as deep state as they come. That's why they're in the position that they're in right now. And this is coming from a right winger.
So is it guys, like the fracture of the Trump base here falling 100%. On one side or the other?
Yes. So what this is on the right, okay, so you have your establishment Republicans, then you have your Trumpist orange Jesus, and then you have the rest of us. You have the Tucker Carlson / Thomas Massey populist right, of which I am a card-carrying member of. That's the fissure. That's the split. That's the break.
Okay.
And that is why people like me, who's on the right, Peter, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I'm willing to bet there's a lot of overlap between what I just said and what is it you're saying.
No, everything you just said, I'm completely with you on. Like,
so that's why the Daily Wire is
aware of even this. So basically, what you're saying, I think that this is kind of a credibility issue more so than it is a financial issue. Is that what you're?
100%, because the whole agenda, the way that, because people forget, back in 2016, Ben Shapiro was a ardent anti-Trumper. He hated Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember that.
But Ben Shapiro, he is nothing more than a political chameleon, except when it comes to Israel. He is Israel first. He regards America as Israel's enabler. He looks at the American taxpayer as the serf who is responsible to provide a higher standard of living for a foreign nation than which we have in our own country here. that is diametrically opposed to the MAGA agenda. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the whole issue. And so then what you have is really where this split first started happening. I don't know. It's probably 6 years ago now. Ben Shapiro had Tucker Carlson on for an interview. And that when they were talking, Tucker Carlson was just like, explain to me why we should care about Israel when the life expectancy of the American people is going down. Gary, Indiana is dead. My hometown here in Montana, well, not my hometown, town I live in, is dying because of fentanyl, open borders, prices being depressed. My town is dying. My state is dying. So the question that you have, if you're on the populist right, and the same question you have on the populist left, is what is in it for me? Why should I care about Israel? Why should I care about all these foreign adventures if I can't even afford to pay my rent or pay my bills? That is the issue. And so the way that Ben Shapiro tried to wrap this all around is that he just tried to say the whole issue is, I am this anti-censorship, free speech kind of guy. We got to rally around the flag. We've got to restore free speech until you start asking questions about Israel. And I got into a big old dust up with this at church this morning. I got into it yesterday at with the. I'm the only anti-Zionist in my Baptist church. Like sure. I am a very unique individual. And like yesterday, I don't know if y'all saw this on Twitter, but Ben Shapiro was just like, well, I don't really care who killed JFK because a lot of these things are coming out from the JFK files showing that Israel's fingerprints are all over it. So Shapiro's just like, well, let's look at the dates. It happened in 1963. This is 2025. I don't care about JFK. Well, then my response is, well, then let's look at the dates. The Holocaust is 80 years ago. Why should I care about your Zionist project? That is a direct result of what happened in World War II. If we're just going by the dates about when things happen.
Yeah.
And so what Ben Shapiro is doing is that he's pivoted to the authoritarian MAGA agenda he actually is, where he just wants to shut everyone down by clubbing everyone with the term racist or anti-Semite to shut you down. The problem is it's not working. And I love to see it.
Here's a super interesting thing about what you're saying. It's essentially the exact same thing I've been saying about the Democrats for about 5 years. I mean, probably longer than that, but really that's been my main message. There's a crisis of credibility. These people cannot stand for the thing that they say they stand for, and they will beat their opponents over the head with identity politics.
Correct.
I mean, that has been the criticism that it goes back further than 5 years. It's 2025. But like in my head, it feels like I've been saying that for a very, very long time. And I don't know. It's weird to see that be the criticism of Ben Shapiro, because at one point, Ben Shapiro, his primary thing was criticizing the Democrats for exactly what we're talking about.
Right. But this is the thing, though. The dude's a hypocrite of the highest order. He's a political chameleon. I mean, to me, there's no difference between him and Bernie Sanders. They're both. They will look at you. They will tell you what you want to hear for the money, for the grip, for the political capital.
The grift.
While
I was going to say that's the term.
Yeah,
that's the term now. Is the grift. So
that's the thing.
Is the thing now that we're looking at in terms of Daily Wire, before we move on to our last topic, is Gavin Newsom, who has entered the media fray. Is what we're looking at with Daily Wire a result of the conservative or the right side of the political spectrum, the fractious moment that they're having after the Trump administration has been inaugurated? They're in there now, and now it's fractured. And now as a result, we're seeing probably the former leading voice being Daily Wire fracturing in and of itself.
Well, the leading voice is Tucker Carlson on the populist right. See, here's the thing.
Populist right, though. That's different than the neocon right, which is Daily Wire.
Correct. But you have to understand, the populist right has got more in common with the populist right has got more in common with the communists like Caleb Maupin and Ted Rall than we ever had at all with Ben Shapiro. And that's what's scaring the crap out of the establishment.
That
Because
right.
at the end of the day, okay, here's the issue, right? I'm in Kalispell, Montana. Population 12,000 people. Median income is $30,000 a year. All right. Inflation goes up 2 to 3% a year. People here cannot afford their rent. So then what you do is that you look at your leaders. Okay, why is this the problem? And you can you can spread this all around the country. Why is my life getting better? Why is my life getting worse? Well, if you say, well, Mr. MAGA guy, your life is getting worse because all those dirty Palestinians in Gaza hating on Israel. Sorry, that doesn't compute. The people who are screwing me over are the people who are wearing the 3-piece suits in Washington, D.C. and the corporate whores who finance them. That's the bridge that between me and Ted. Ted is a communist. I am not. Peter, I have no idea where you fall on that.
Well, I'm the co-director of the Center for Political Innovation with Caleb Maupin. So,
hey,
there you go.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. If you ever need a right-wing populist dude to come on, look me up because I'm telling you, there is more overlap than what people
I wrote
realize.
this book recently. It's also a documentary. It's called Horseshoe Theory is Right, but Not How You Think. It's about how the class interests of people are what you really should be prioritizing as opposed to these ideological things. Because yes, you and I are probably both going to have differences in terms of certain things, but ultimately the line that we're both looking at here very clearly, in my opinion, is class. Who is ruling versus who is serving.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And that's the thing. Ben Shapiro, his whole problem, and I'll drop off here because I know that we're going to be going over and talk about Gavin Newsom. You cannot, on one hand, say that you are an America first conservative, whatever the hell that even means. I'm not conservative because there's nothing to conserve anymore. The America that I wanted doesn't exist. It's dead. Okay, there's nothing in the system I want to conserve. I want to blow it up and start over. I've said it numerous times. There's nothing here that I want to conserve. Hit the reset button, start over. You cannot be a Israeli Zionist war hawk and be America first at the exact same time. 100%. Israel is a foreign country, just like Russia is a foreign country. The question I have is, why are we in NATO? Why do we have all these military bases all over the world?
Well,
you're so worried about becoming this. You're so worried about the authoritarian over there in Putin, who censors speech to the point where you're going to start censoring people here in this country. They're here legally with green cards, putting them in prison because they criticize a foreign country. So to defeat the Soviet Union, you have to become the Soviet Union. Make this make sense to me because it doesn't.
Well. There's not really any way to make that make sense. It's just a bunch of hypocritical crap. So
it's bullshit. It is bullshit. and I love to see this. And I love to see the populists on the left and the right to realize, Peter, you're not my enemy. Ted, you're not my enemy. I'm not your enemy either.
Well, populism on the left.
If we all work together, we can break this thing.
The left-wing populists are currently a bit asleep right now. The last time they came out of their rabbit hole was during Occupy.
Yes.
And we haven't seen them since, but they're around. I mean, that strain is there. Populism right now is obviously has been most notable on the right, and it's been channeled into MAGA.
Yeah.
I mean, on the left, we often talk about the pernicious influence of the Democratic Party, sucking the money and the energy and the votes away from the real left. Well, on the right, I think what your cri de coeur that you're expressing here, Robbie, is the same things happening to you guys. The energy and the money and is being diverted from the real populist right over into the Republican Party.
But we have an advantage.
Republican Party doesn't care about you.
But we have an advantage that you don't have. You want me to tell you what that advantage is?
Well, you got inherently more organized.
Well, I don't even more organized. It's because we don't care. Because for the last 8 years, if you look like me, if you sound like me, you're called a white supremacist. You're called a Nazi. You're called every name in the book. That's why I have the moniker Putin Bot Gaming here on Rumble. I will be your boogeyman. I will be your Russian agent. I do not care. I will be whatever it is, whatever label it is you're going to put on me. I will wear it with pride because if I wear it, you can't use it to hurt me anymore. That's the advantage. If you call someone a Nazi long enough, that word no longer has power.
Right.
That's
I hear
the
you.
advantage.
It's
That we
ever
have.
since I wrote my book, The Anti-American Manifesto, and it became a little bit of a bestseller. No one's ever called me anti-American ever since.
No. It's just like, no, this morning at church, a guy asked me, said, Robbie, are you anti-Semitic? I said, no, I'm not. I want Jewish people to become Christians. What I am, I'm so pro-life that not only do I not want babies to get killed in
Well,
the
some
womb,
people might view that as anti-Semitic.
but again, though, I'm going to tell you what, this is what I believe, right? I'm a Christian. That's my identity. But I am so pro-life that I don't want people. I don't want babies getting killed in clinics. I also don't want them being starved to death by sanctions or blown up by bombs. If you worship the Prince
But you're
of
for
Peace,
capital punishment, so there's always an if.
well, if you kill someone, that's a different story. Babies, by their nature, have not committed a crime yet because they can't. They have any agency. So there is that. I mean, are there no other differences between left and right? Sure. Are we going to agree on everything? Absolutely not. But what we can agree on is that free speech is important. Imperialism is bad. Maybe let's rebuild our own country before we start. Going to war with Iran.
I'll once again just quickly reference this book. The idea is that left and right served class interests back in the French Revolution, but those classes have merged into one class. Being purely left or purely right is an ideological prospect. And what ideological prospects without a material basis do is it makes it so that we end up with these little disagreements that aren't really fundamental to anything. Like, in order to improve somebody who is both pro-abortion and anti-abortion, you can improve both of their lives by resolving problems between the ruling and the subordinate classes. It's that simple.
Well, the thing is, I mean, most people have abortions because they say that they can't afford to have babies.
Bingo.
Then if you increase the standard of living, maybe you don't have to murder your babies anymore.
That's exactly it. I've done podcast after podcast on that. I've said that, and man, oh man, does that make people mad?
Well, you know what?
It's true.
Truth hurts.
If there was more
the truth hurts
for mothers, for example, and you want us to be a cog in the work machine and make more capital and give you more tax money, then make it easier for me to have my family that I want, and so I can return to work. Like make it easier for me as a mom. Give me some support that, give me time off to recover from giving birth. Yeah.
Well, that or maybe fix the economic system where it was 60 years ago, where you could afford a house, a car, and a large family off of one income. I mean, there are things we're able to do here.
Support families.
If you were white.
That's a whole, that's
the idea of affording a house, white or not, right now is a very foreign concept.
It's impossible. I've said this numerous times. I will never own a house. There's no way. It's not in the cards. And it doesn't matter what color
I will either.
I mean, but no, I'll drop off. Peter, I really did appreciate talking to you. It was a pleasure.
Man, it was great talking to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Robbie. Producer
You're
Robbie.
welcome.